And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small courts, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out changers' money, and overthrew the tables, and said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my father's house an house of merchandise. From this story, we learn that when the Lord arrived at the temple, right, there were people that were selling outside. They were selling doves, selling animals. There were also money changers, because you could not use the Roman money to pay your tribute in the temple. So you had to change it to the coins that were used in the temple. So there were people outside changing money for the people, so they are able to pay what's required by the law of Moses. So, but what was inappropriate about the whole situation was that they were doing this inside the courts of the temple, in a way disturbing or taking away the spirit of temple worship. That's why the Lord said to them, Do not turn my house into a house of merchandise. So what I'm learning from this story is that it's important that we do not forget what's important. Or sometimes what Dr. Covey says, put first things first. When you go and worship the Lord, that should be the center focus of your worship. And I think this is what the Lord was trying to teach, or trying to ensure it happens when people go to the temple. It's not a place of money making, but it's a place of serving and giving and worshiping the Lord. And many times in our lives to do the same thing. We may go to church and sometimes forget why we are there. Focus on other people and their opinions, or focus on things that are irrelevant to the spirit of worship. But rather, the Lord was saying people ought to focus on Him and give. They were to focus on Him and learn more of Him and become more like Him. And the Jews, they tend to do this a lot, where they forget or move past the mark and do not, because it especially happened with the law of Moses, where a lot of laws were added, especially around this time. They've added a lot of things that were not needed, and as a result, they've lost their way in understanding the beauty and the simplicity of the law of Moses. That the law of Moses was there to focus their hearts to Christ. The sacrifices was there to help them understand the great sacrifice that Christ would undertake. And they were to prepare their hearts and look forward to that sacrifice. But because of the many rules and many complicated things that the Jews added upon the rituals of the temple, it was important that the Lord reminded them of why are they there. It's not about the money. It's not about commerce, but it's about doing the Lord's, and it's about worshiping the Lord and going to the temple to draw closer to Him. I think that's what I learned from this story.